All right, today we're going to do solving systems of inequalities. So with systems of inequalities, I put them all in slope-intercept form. You're going to want to get them in slope-intercept form first if they're not in that form already. With systems of inequalities, just like graphing inequalities, you have to graph them in order to solve them. You can't solve them any other way. It's not going to be a point like the systems of equations. It's got to be a graph. So we're going to look at a graph. So when you're doing this, you need to make a graph. So you're going to need graph paper for this. So I'll tell you a little story. So it's Friday. You go out to the desert with your best friend, with actually your two best friends. Your one best friend is kind of an idiot, and he brings a trash can full of gasoline, and he lights it on fire. Well, what happens to your best friend? He got lit on fire too, because he's kind of an idiot. So there's an area around this fire that's going to be safe. Probably if you're standing right here, you're still going to get burned because you're too close to the fire. But all of this area over here is safe. Anywhere over here, you're not going to get burned to death. So there's a big area in the world where you're not going to get burned to death. This part right here next to the trash can, you're going to burn to death. So you don't want to be over here. You don't want to be in the fire over here, and you also don't want to be in the heat area, which is just right outside of the fire, right? So you don't want to be over here either, okay? Now your other friend, this one's you, by the way. Your other friend brought a pallet. A pallet is like those wood things that you see at the store. And he lights that on fire. So when he lights this on fire, all of a sudden this part right here that used to be safe is no longer safe. And actually where he's standing too, it's too hot, he's going to get burned too. So you still have that little area around it where it's too hot to stand. But everything outside of that is safe. Now what you're looking for when you're doing systems of inequalities is you're looking for this area right here that's safe from both of them. So you don't want to just show the part that was safe from the trash can fire, which right here would be safe from the trash can fire, because it's not safe from the pallet fire. You don't want to just show the part that's safe from the pallet fire, which would be right here. You want the parts that are safe from both of them, which is over here where you're standing. Okay, so that's what we're doing on these guys. So I'm going to do this first problem right here. You still need to remember the rules for graphing. So this one is going to be a dashed line. I'm going to start at 3, and I have a slope of 1/2, so I go up 1 and over 2, and then I make a dashed line. It tells me it's greater than, so I'm going to shade above it. And I'm going to use highlighters, because then it's easier for me to tell where the lines cross and which area is shaded for both. The other one, it has a y-intercept of -1, has a slope of 3. It's less than, so it's also dashed. And it's less than, so I'm going to shade below. So if you notice, I have this portion that's safe from the second one, but not from that's safe from the first one, but not the second one. I have this point that's safe from the second one, but not the first one. In here is where it's safe from both of them, and that's my solution set. So if you're using a pencil, you can erase everything else, or if you're using a pen or highlighters, you just want to make sure that it's really obvious what area is shaded for both of them. So I'm going to shade it in a third color. So that's the only solution area is in there. Okay? Do a couple of more. So for this first one, I'm going to use the x and y intercept. The y-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for x and solve for y, which gives me 6. So my y-intercept is 6. The x-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for y and solve for x, which is going to give me 4. So my x-intercept is 4. It says or equals 2, so it's going to be a solid line. And because the x and the y are on the same side, I'm going to use a point to test it. 0, 0. 0 is greater than or equal to 12. That's not true, so I need to shade away from 0, 0. So I'm going to shade this way. The other one's in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to use the y-intercept of 1, slope of 1/2. It's or equals to, so it's also a solid line. And then it says less than, so I'm going to shade below. I'm looking for the area that's shaded for both of them, and I'm going to shade that at an extra time, which is right here. It's shaded for both of them. So that's my solution set. Bring any questions you have with you to class. Finish those other 3 problems that I didn't do. Or sorry, 2 problems.